Trey, my man, appreciate you coming on. We're blessed to have you. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I just finished my last class of the day. We had practice earlier today, so it's nice to be back into the house right now, kind of cooling, and I get to have this conversation with y'all. So that's a plus. It's definitely a plus. But yeah, we're doing good though. We're doing good.
That's good, man. That's good. So listen, man, we're gonna start it off with just some icebreakers, some easy questions to get the conversation flowing.
Oh.
What's your favorite song right now?
Ooh, favorite song right now. I gotta go to my music app for that one.
Yeah, go ahead, man. This is
Uh,
live and on video. They gonna get it. You
all
gotta
right.
get. How is the cookie made?
I gotta. I think right now it's a mix. I'm kind of a guy that likes all sorts of music. So, I got my hip hop playlist. Obviously, I got my '90s rap, gospel. I got the country music, but right now I'm kind of rolling with "The World Is Yours" to take, featuring Lil Baby.
Okay,
Big
okay.
fan of that song.
Rady, we got to know what's your favorite '90s rap song? That's what I want to know.
Oh, favorite '90s rap song. I gotta go with I actually had it for my walk up song for the last 2, 3 years, ever since I've been in school. Actually, you know how we do it by Ice Cube. I just changed it to Grills by Nelly, but you
Okay.
know how we do it by Ice Cube. That song gets me every time.
There's a running
Also a
inside joke.
banger.
There's a running inside joke that Ice Cube's my daddy. So Randy and me appreciate that. That's
There
we
we go.
started
There we
that
go.
joke.
Hitting right off the right out the box. There we go.
Already. So listen, man, moving into the next question. What is your favorite baseball movie of all time?
Favorite baseball movie of all time. Um, hmm. Gotta think about this. I've got a handful of one. I'm real big fan of what's the one? Is it Rookie of the Year? Is
Oh,
that the one where
yes.
the kid's on the Cubs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Rookie
Yeah,
of the Year is a big
absolutely.
one. Fun fact, I actually had never watched what's the movie? See, I still don't even know. What's the movie that Field of Dreams is like based off of?
Field of Dreams.
The movie's called Field of Dreams. Okay.
Yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. See, I had never seen the movie.
I would I
Oh,
would judge
man.
you, but you said Rookie of the Year, and we haven't got that answer yet, and we all love that movie, so we're gonna just let that slide
Yeah,
because
I
Rookie of
was
the
about
Year
to
is
say
it.
Rookie of the Year is it's between Rookie of the Year and Angels in the Outfield, but
Okay.
Field of Dreams, I just seen it as soon as they had played the Field of Dreams game, and I was not as impressed as everybody says it is. I
You
wasn't I
know,
wasn't into it.
I'm kind of with you on that, man. I'm kind of with you. Good movie,
I'm
but
just
like,
just not a fan of the slow movies like that. I
yeah,
want some. I want like Field of or Rookie of the Year.
you want
Movies
some
like that.
feel good, man. I
Yeah,
feel you.
exactly. So but yeah, definitely Rookie of the Year.
So speaking of feeling good, man, what's your favorite athlete, either growing up or even right now?
Favorite athlete growing up? Honestly, I see that's a hard question because that's so interchangeable for me. Like, when I was younger, I really looked up to like Michael Bourne. He's from Houston and I'm from Houston, so I really looked up to Michael Bourne. And then he's done out of the league and stuff. And then the next one was Andrew McCutcheon. And actually, like when I was 12, when you're younger, you just try to imitate people's stances. When
Oh
I was
yeah.
12, I tried to imitate Andrew McCutcheon's stance as best as I possibly could. And I don't mean to flex or anything, but I hit the most home runs I've ever hit in a season. So there we got
Humble
that going.
brag.
But nah, right now it's probably Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts. Just I mean, it's more so just as like that's kind of like him being 5'9", I'm 5'9", and him being able to do what he does at that level and be able
Unbelievable.
to do it night in and night out. I mean, that's really cool to see, especially for someone like me, because it's like, okay, if he's doing it at that size, I mean, why can't I do it? So
Fun
definitely Mookie Betts.
fact about Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
He is from Nashville, Tennessee, and was a Tennessee baseball commit before
yeah,
a lot of people knew that,
yeah,
really about Tennessee baseball. It kind of came on the map lately. But
yeah.
obviously, Mookie said, you know what? I'm going to go get this bag.
Yeah, it's kind of worked out for him too. So I can't
I
I
would
can't
say.
knock him on that. Yeah, can't knock
I
him on
would.
that.
No, man. So how about the NBA? You watch NBA?
I do watch the NBA. Real
All
big
right, man.
Rockets fan.
Okay, well, no, we're not gonna talk about the Rockets right now. But
Yeah, yeah.
who who you got winning it all this year?
Oh, I just talked about that with somebody today, and I want the Sixers to do it. I'm a big LeBron fan too, but I just realistically I can't sit up here and say the Lakers will win. Like, I mean, they almost lost the play-in game last night.
Trey,
So
they ain't even got the first round. You see this over here, grit and grind, baby. Memphis Grizzlies.
yeah,
We all
exactly.
three from
Yeah.
Memphis. It ain't happening.
I was about to say those are the villains of the NBA right now.
And that's how we like it, baby. We don't want nobody on our side. Us against
Nah,
the world.
I got you. But no, I gotta go with the Sixers. I just think the Sixers, like, if they can keep, they gotta get past the Bucks. That's the one thing. Like, they're gonna face the Bucks. The deeper they go, the Bucks are a really good team. But I got to say, I can't see anybody in the West win it this year.
Yo, let me drop a little fact on y'all that I heard today. A lot of people, Zion Williamson, everybody's aware of Zion Williamson and how, injury prone is always the word said to him, Trey, right? Did you know that Zion Williamson has played 114 games in his first, 4 or 5 seasons?
Yeah.
Joel Embiid only played 96 games his first 5 seasons. Y'all know that?
I mean, now that you say it,
the process.
Yeah.
That trust the process. So for all the people that just say like, oh, Zion's a bust. Look, man, you just got to be patient with a dude like that, man. That's all I'm saying.
It's tough when you pick a guy number 1, Randy, to be patient. Let's call it what it is.
I was about, yeah.
Joel,
yeah, I got to go with him on that one.
I feel you, but I'm just saying that was a stat that I heard. He's played in almost 20 more games than Joel Embiid at the same point in their career.
If Ja wasn't producing the way he is now, Randy, you'd be pissed.
Well, Josh produced a lot of things. Anyways.
yeah. That's messed up that you call Zion a bust. He's dealing with bust. You said he's a bust.
This man making weight jokes. I'm
offended. Man, there we go.
Trey, let me bring this back to you for the last question. Those black unis y'all had on last night, bro. Did those feel as good as they looked?
Oh my God. So what's crazy is our head coach actually, word on the street. I mean, I just got here too, but word on the street is our head coach didn't like the black jerseys. He just wasn't a fan of them. And so we're sitting around. I want to say it was Monday. We're sitting around, and our equipment manager sends out a quick text to the whole team. He's, hey, this is saying we're wearing the black jerseys tomorrow. We got the black belts. We got the black socks. Like, let's go. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way. And putting them on, they are the best feeling and looking uniforms that I've ever worn in my entire life. And I think I've worn some pretty sick uniforms in my day.
Yeah.
And those are the best feeling and the best looking uniforms I've ever worn in my life.
Yeah, I tagged my boy who always posts the uniform of the weekend. Obviously, it was a week game, and I tagged him. He goes, hands down, they take the week.
I was about to say those. I would be really hurt. Let's just leave it like this. I would be really hurt if that's the last time we wear them this season. Like, we got to wear them in a road series, wear them at home. And plus, too, I think it's good fan engagement. I mean, you get, a game at home and we got, Blackout Friday or something like that. Like, that's a pretty cool thing. I mean, football has done it. Basketball has done it. Like, why can't we do it? So.
Hey, dope.
Yeah, they look sweet, Trey, for sure. So let's get into this, man. I need to know, you talked about being from Houston. Is that your original hometown?
So I was born in Oklahoma City, and then moved down to Houston probably around 2. So I remember, bits and pieces of being in Oklahoma, but for the most part, I've been in Houston my entire life.
Gotcha. So obviously, you got three brothers, right?
No, I have a younger brother and I have a younger sister.
Oh, okay. So, but you're the oldest of the 3.
Oldest of 3, yeah.
So what is that like growing up? Is there like fighting? Is there like fierce competition? Is mom and dad having to like step in and like hold folks back? Like, what's going on in the house as a kid?
The one thing I've learned, especially, being in college and being around people who have come from, households of 3 and 4 kids and stuff, like, I love my parents to death, but from what I hear from these other households, like, and especially like everybody my age, like, first off, everybody my age is like the youngest kid in their whole house. Like, I'm like, I won't say an anomaly, but like, there's very few people that are the oldest kid in their house and born in 2001. Like most part, everybody's parents are kind of cooling, around that age. They're chilling out and they're the last kid that they have, at least my age. But growing up, there were a ton of fights. But I mean, you look back at it now and it was all out of love. Because my brother, me and him have a 4-year gap. And then my sister, we have a 16-year gap. She's 5 years old. And so you're saying, I've lived with my brother for as long as whatever, until my sister was born. And, him being the baby of the house and me being the oldest one, I mean, all the responsibility, all the, anytime he did something and I didn't like it, or anytime I hit him, then it was always pick on someone your own size. So I'm like, and it's crazy. So I'm like, okay, I'm still 13 years old. Like, Dad, you're not my size. So like, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. But it was always just, just sibling rivalry. I mean, it was just a bunch of banter and stuff. And the older, we've gotten, and especially being off in school now, he's a junior in high school right now, but being off in school, I mean, you look back on it, you're like, man, like we lived a really good childhood. We had a really, really good childhood. But yeah, I mean, we shared a bedroom all the way up until I graduated high school. We shared a PlayStation console all the way up until I got to college.
How many PlayStations y'all break?
Not PlayStations, but controllers.
Yeah.
Controllers. We ran through the controllers. I remember there was one time actually we were fighting over the controller because like it was always like, okay, whoever gets on first is not getting off for the day. Like it was just known. And so he gets on, and I actually think we had just come back from hitting with my dad. So we get back to the house, of course, the last thing in our mind is taking a shower for whatever reason. Like we run straight upstairs. It's first person to get on the game. And he grabs the controller, and I'm pissed off that he grabbed the controller. And so I'm guilt tripping him and gaslighting him about not taking a shower and stuff, and caught him, smelly and stuff. And we end up fighting over the controller, playing tug of war with it. And I yanked it really hard, and it broke the joystick. And so we didn't have a controller. We only had the one controller. We didn't have a controller for a good like 3-4 months. Like that was my parents' way of being like, that's y'all's fault. Like, so we didn't have a controller for a good 3 or 4 months. But yeah, it was that's where a lot of the fights stemmed from, was, playing PlayStation and being in the same room. You're always around each other. And then of course, I mean, he and I would always play baseball in the backyard and stuff. And, me being the oldest dude, I'm trying to put him in the dirt. Like he's not beating me. Always. And so, we'd have these games and stuff, and it would be like, I would be a team like the Astros. I'm imitating every one of their stances, and he's like the Cubs. This is back in like 2015, 2016. So we're like memorizing like the whole lineup and stuff, going up to hit. And, like looking back, it was such a fun time. But man, them games they were some gritty games.
I bet.
They were some gritty games.
I bet. So obviously, video games, bringing you guys either closer or further apart. But when does baseball creep into the picture? At what age do you start playing baseball?
So my dad actually, he played 2 years at OU in Oklahoma, and when we came down, we moved to Houston. I think I was about 4. Or I can't remember what age I was, but I remember specifically he used to take me to this park that was right by where we were staying, and we would just go play catch. That's all we would do. We would go play catch, and we would hit, the little vinyl baseballs, or the squishy ones. We would go play catch, hit with the baseballs. And then I believe around 5 is whenever I played, my first bit of organized baseball. It was like little YMCA league. And I know for a fact, I remember too, my first ever hit was an inside the park home run. And so that was like a pretty big deal to me. But of course, I've got my younger brother, and at the time he's, I'm 5, so he would have been 1 at the time. He's a little baby, and so he's taking all the attention. My mom had a camcorder at the game, and she's videotaping everything up until I make contact. As soon as I make contact, she put the camcorder on my brother, and it's filming whatever he's doing in the dirt. Like, I don't know what he's doing in the dirt. And she turned around and filmed him while he was doing something in the dirt. And so I just always like guilt trip her, hold that over her head. But but yeah, I started playing when I was about 5. And then, up until then, I don't think I went into travel ball until I was like 9 years old. And ever since then, I mean, it's just been, it's been unbelievable. And it's, especially being in college and, with the aspirations to go into pro ball and stuff, like it's just a start at this point. But
Was baseball the only sport you played?
no, so that was the only sport that I played up until I would say 5th grade. In 5th grade, I played football. And then 6th grade, they didn't have football for 6th grade when I went to middle school. And then 7th and 8th, I played on the football team, 7th and 8th grade year. And then whenever we went to high school, I played my freshman and sophomore year. And I got called up to varsity my freshman year and then played, varsity wide receiver freshman and sophomore year. And I remember specifically, we were playing North Shore. North Shore was in our district. I don't know if y'all have heard of North Shore High School, but they're pretty freaking good at football, and they were in our district. And one of the linebackers, Calebon Chason, he went to LSU, got drafted to the Jaguars. Well, I'm going in on I'm running a dig route, and I break out of my route. I'm going in. I remember as soon as I caught the ball, I turned to try to cut up the field, and he's just right in my face. And he hit me probably the hardest I've ever been hit, like in my entire, like it felt like a car accident. And I get up, my whole world is like just horizontal. Like I didn't know what was going on. I was confused. My helmet was chipped and everything. And like I get up and I'm like, this is kind of unbelievable. Like this dude's going to LSU for a reason. Like I get it.
That's back-to-back episodes with huge name drops. Our last baseball guest talked about playing with DK Metcalf, and here you are talking about Chase on y'all.
Hey,
big boys.
I mean, I was about to say it's no joke. I'm guessing your last guest was from down south.
Yeah, from Yanko, Louisiana. But he was from Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just it's all sports, especially football and baseball. There's just nothing but talent down south. But that was pretty unbelievable. And then but yeah, I played football, basketball in middle school, and I ran track in middle school. I was actually a hurler. That was like my pride and joy, but messed up my back, so I was like, I can't do that anymore. But
so you talked about playing all these sports, and you mentioned your LSU guy knocking you out of football completely. But what high school did you go to?
I went to Kingwood High School. It's about, I want to say about 30 minutes north of downtown Houston. And we would play, especially with us being 6A, and you know how Texas football is. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. We always played. We had a North Shore in our district, school called Atascocita in our district. And then it would always just be whenever the district was like reclassified. I think Summer Creek was another one. And then after that, it was always just like, it would be us and it'd be like teams from like South Houston or, something like that. But I mean, the talent in football and baseball was pretty unbelievable. I mean, we had, for one of my teammates, he's actually in Double-A for the Cardinals right now, Mason Wynn. He was one of my high school teammates. Pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty legit. I don't want to be that guy too, but I mean, slight flex. I played shortstop, so I started shortstop every single game. So that's my claim to fame is I played shortstop over Mason Wynn. But
that's a good one.
Yeah, what'd you say?
I said that's a good one. He's one of the top prospects for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with flexing, Trey. Yeah,
there we go. I had to just throw that one out there. That's why, because we would always go to like these like prospect camps and stuff, and everybody would hear that I'm from Kingwood, and they would know Mason's from Kingwood for sure, and they'd be like, "Oh, so when he's playing short, where do you play?" And I'd be like, "I'm a shortstop, everybody. I hate to break it to you, hate to burst your bubbles."
So where did he play? Second base.
He played second base, and he would pitch.
I bet that was a nasty middle infield.
One of the best I've ever played with. Like still to this day, that dude was unbelievable. That dude was an unbelievable talent. But we play like, a bunch of schools up in like South Houston and stuff, and a lot of the people that we played in our district, I mean, they're off playing, either professionally in whatever sport they played, or I have a few dudes that are in the conference in Big 12 with me right now, so that's pretty cool to see. But yeah, I went to Kingwood High, so it's about 30 minutes north of Houston.
So you talk about Houston a lot. You seem like you know Houston.
Yeah.
So I got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Does this number ring a bell to you?
Okay.
281-330-8004.
Who?
Yeah, Mike Jones.
There
Mike Jones. Yeah,
Clearly, you ain't watched one of Tre's most recent hype videos. Mike
I was
Jones
about to
is the
say,
song.
Still Tippen's right in there. Still Tippen's right in. Actually,
that's the
fun
jam.
fact too. My my last year playing football, sophomore year, our quarterback, his uncle was Paul Wall. And so and that was around the time the Astros were, they were in the World Series. I think it was 2017. And so that was, around that time, and everybody was talking about playoff girls and stuff. And we were like, we're Kingwood High School. We don't play football. Like, we're not a football school. And so we had made it like 3 rounds deep, and it was like a big deal. And so the running joke was like, if we make it all the way to state, we're getting playoff girls. And so Paul Wall, he came to like 2 or 3 of our games, and it was like pretty cool seeing him. But yeah, our quarterback was his nephew. It's crazy.
Man.
Crazy.
Houston's got it all. The only thing they don't have is good traffic.
I mean, yeah. I was about to say, being in Fort Worth, I've gotten to the point where I kind of thank Houston for it, because it's allowed me to have a little bit of patience with DFW traffic, because DFW traffic is no better than Houston traffic, like at all.
So let's get into this high school and this baseball career, man. You were a 3-time All-District shortstop. You were named first-team All-State after your junior season. You hit .421 with 30 RBIs, 3 home runs. You were runner-up in the Houston Jupiter qualifier. You competed with the Banditos scout team. You were 2019 Perfect Game preseason underclass All-American. At what point, I mean, I think of you, like, when I hear those accolades and given where you're at now and your accomplishments, like, I think, like, you were born with this gift, but at what point do you realize, like, you have something special, like, that could take you to the next level?
I would say probably midway through my freshman year of high school was when I started realizing, like, I could do something with this, because, I'm blessed enough to come from, a family of, just people who were educated. Both my parents went to college. My grandfather, he went to school. My grandmother went. So I have a good amount of people in my family that were educated. But none of them, played sports like that. And my dad was really the only one that did. And he went to OU. He played at OU, or he didn't actually play. He was a walk-on. So he was on he was like on the team. He dressed out, but he was more of like a bullpen catcher, walk-on. He never really got to play. So being able to be, that first in my family of, this guy who, freshman years, whenever I started talking to, Division I schools. And I think my first ever visit was to Texas. And I was like, okay, this is pretty legit. Like, schools want me. And that was whenever I started, hearing buzz about, schools wanting me and schools wanting me to come on visits and stuff. That was when I was like, okay, this is something that I can do, I can have a future in. And now as I've gotten older, it's turned into something that I like, that, God forbid any sort of injury or anything that happens. I mean, it's something I will have a future in, because of, not because of the talent and the accolades, but just because of, the mental fortitude of being able to go out there every single day and, have the same mindset of, let me just get 1% better. That's what, that's something that we preach here as a program is, every day, just find a way to get 1% better. And so it was probably about freshman year. Like I said, I went to Texas, visited them. And then my next visit was to U of H down in Houston. And I committed a few days after. So I was actually committed to U of H up until my junior year of high school. And then I decommitted and, committed to Baylor. And that's how I, got my foot in through the door. But, it was high school was pretty special for me because it was just a good time. It's high school, everybody, you either love high school or you hate high school. And, I really enjoyed my time. But then on top of it, it was like, okay, once I got to high school, it was like, okay, I'm not competing with people in my area or people, with the same area code as me. I'm competing with people all across the nation. And so that was something, in my mindset that I had like quickly started to get onto, because if I'm competing with guys in my area, what's the point of even wanting to go to the next level? You gotta, the next level, you're competing against dudes from spanning all the way from freaking, Hawaii to dudes all the way in Florida. And so, and that's not even to talk about the rest of the nation. And so that was something that was, really stuck with me, was, just find a way to better yourself 1% every single day, and understand who you're really going up against. Because, at the end of the day, like I said before, this game can get taken away from you real easily, but it is a child's game. And, you just gotta find a way to, better yourself at it. But I would say probably about freshman year of high school was whenever I really realized like I could do something with this.
So you mentioned Texas, you mentioned, Houston, and then Baylor. So why Baylor? Why is that where you decided you would start your college career?
So I well, for one, while I was committed to U of H, I was committed to them from freshman to junior year, and probably about sophomore years, whenever a lot of people in my class started, committing to these different schools and going to these different places and stuff. And, me being committed already my freshman year, I'm like, okay, this is cool. But like, I know for a fact I'm better than this guy, and this guy's going to the SEC, or this guy's going to the Big 12. And I was like, I feel like, I could do a little bit more with my talent, because in hindsight's always 20/20, but if I were to, stay committed to U of H, and, I'm playing my third year in the All-American Athletic Conference, or American Athletic Conference, I'm like, I'm not really getting any better. I don't think I'm getting any better playing against, talent that, nothing against their talent, but, I feel like I should be playing up against, some of the most premier talent.
Daniel got a Memphis flag.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tread lightly.
You do see the flag behind.
I do see the flag. I do see that. That's why I kind of held myself off a little. I was like, there's nothing against it. But, that was just always my thing, and that was always the thing that I talked to with my dad and stuff. Was just like, man, like, there's no reason why I can't, play at that level. And so I had a really good relationship with one of the assistant coaches, because he's also from Houston. His name's Mike Taylor, and we had a mutual friend, and that was kind of, where the ball started rolling a little bit. And then I went to a showcase, and Coach Rod, he was, at the time was the head coach at Baylor. He's now assistant at Texas, but I went to a showcase, did what I did, whatever, and I saw him there, and I was like, okay, like, that's a sign. And then just talking, with my dad and stuff, and just praying it through, I was like, I think I want to decommit, and I want to, see whatever options I have. And as soon as I decommit, especially, playing on the Banditos, I get a ton of phone calls from, Ray is calling me, and he's, hey man, I got this school lined up. Like, this school wants to talk to you. And I'm like, I want to go to Baylor. Like, that was the school I wanted to go to. I was like, I want to go to Baylor. And then, I ended up going to the visit, and that's, that as soon as I saw the campus and, the way that they operate around baseball, and they were coming off of a year where they were just in UCLA's regional in, like, I think 2019. And so, they were playing some pretty good baseball. I'd seen the stats and stuff, and I was like, I want to go somewhere where, I can get developed. And being an infielder, Coach Rod was a middle infielder in professional ball. And so going over there, it was just kind of like a no-brainer. And, for the time I was there, it was enjoyable. Like, Waco was really good to me. And I really miss a lot of the people that were there, a lot of people that I met. I'm happy to be where I am right now, obviously, but I don't regret ever going there for 2.5 years.
So Randy, I think about what he said, and it made me think back to the Christian Scott episode. How many of these guys have he told us that the difference started all with seeing the coach up in the stands versus that phone call or that text? That when that coach comes out and watches, it shows that they really are invested. They want you.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. My parents didn't even come watch me play, dog. I don't know. I can't relate.
so I know a lot of coaches probably don't listen to our show, but I know the players all come on here and a lot of them keep saying the same thing. So coaches need to take note. Quit doing the phone call and go watch.
Hey, it's a big deal. It's definitely something that pushes the needle because I mean you obviously know that it's something you want to do, but I mean in freshman year of high school it feels like it's so far away, and it feels like not only is it so far away, but like you're not even really developed your own self, and so at least I wasn't fully developed my own self. So like I'm looking at that and I'm like, these dudes are 200 pounds, just pure muscle playing at the next level. I'm this 5'9", 145 pound. I think at the time I was about 130 pounds. I'm like 5'9", 130 pounds playing high school baseball right now. Like, I don't know if I could do that. And then, obviously you see the coach and you see all that stuff come in. And it's like, maybe I can do that because they see something in me that I don't see in myself. And so it's just all a part of the development phase. Is you have these. I just read something on Twitter the other day where it's like there was a question where it was like, which one is more important, and it's like high school coach, travel ball coach, and I can't remember the other one. And somebody's comment really, it really got to me. It was like, I believe that everybody plays a little bit of a role here and there with development in a player, and I 100% agree to it because I mean, obviously, I've had my favorite coaches, and I've had guys that I really look up to and I really trust. But then at the same time, you could flip it. And you can look at the guys that you didn't really like too much, and they still made you to who you are today. And so that was always my biggest thing, was just seeing that and seeing that these coaches see something in me that I don't see in myself yet. That was a pretty big deal for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the first question I usually ask, I mean, I think I got the answer to already. As I say, when you got to Baylor, were you nervous or excited? Because a lot of guys said they're nervous, but I just don't see nervousness in you. I feel like there was probably genuine excitement from the second you stepped on campus. Would I be right?
So I had the glory of graduating high school early to enroll in the Baylor, and so I went up at the beginning of the spring, like January. I think it was like January 13th. That was whenever I like first moved my stuff in, and so and then even then I didn't find out I was going to be able to graduate early until about November of that fall, and so I had 2 months really to get my stuff together. And so, if you know anything about college baseball, 2 months is not going to prepare you for a whole spring season, especially, when you haven't been around the guys in the fall. I mean, it wasn't like I lived right there and I could see what they were doing in the fall. I lived 3 hours away from them. And so I didn't even know, really who was on the roster. I didn't know who was on the team. I met a few people on like my official visit, but it wasn't really, even at the time, I didn't know I was going to graduate
But on
early.
the flip side is you don't have to wait a year, man. You can get right into playing college
Exactly.
baseball. So
Exactly. And so I got up there, and my first PCH is against this guy. His name is Jimmy Winston. Is actually one of my closest friends, and he's old head now. He'll hate that I told him that, but he's an old head, and he came up, and we had him, and we had one of my other best friends. His name's Andy Thomas. He was a catcher, and both of them, we were doing a live at bats, and I go up for my first live at bat, and I kid you not, this never happened to me before. uh Jimmy threw about a two seam, probably 90-mile-an-hour two seam in the dirt, which coming from high school pitching, you don't see pitchers that are doing this and this. Like, you see nothing but, I mean, even the balls have a little bit of ball drop. It's like 88 with a little bit of ball drop, so you can afford to have a little loopy of a swing. But once you get to college, you better fix that stuff, because if not, you're gonna be in trouble. So he threw a two seam like in the dirt or down, and like I went and swung at it, and I kid you not, the cap of my bat scraped up against the dirt. And I was like, that's never happened to me. Like, I didn't know what was happening. Like, I couldn't believe it. And oh wait, oh, okay, it's not muted. But I saw that happen, and I was like, man, this is unbelievable. And so that whole like first month leading into the season, it was like it went from being really, really excited to being like, okay, I need to survive. Like, that's it. I just need to survive. I need to make it. And unfortunately, I didn't know this at the time. I ended up tearing something in my rotator cuff, which didn't tear all the way through, so I didn't need surgery. But I ended up tearing something in my rotator cuff, and my first ever game or the first ever start I got, I was DH against Nebraska. It was like the second game of the season. It was on a Saturday. And, that was really cool. My first hit was a triple, of course, like, have a flair for the dramatic, I guess. And then the next day, I think I went like 2 for 3, and I was like, this college thing, I'm gonna be able to do this college thing, and then proceeded to go about 0 for 11 with 7 strikeouts the very next weekend, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then, of course, with me figuring out I got hurt and stuff, we come down to Minute Maid. I think we played Missouri, LSU, and Arkansas that weekend. I didn't get to play. I was, on the bench for that, and we went 3-0. But it was like it was awesome as a teammate to be able to watch that and be able to sit there and see that. But as the player and the individual in me, like I wanted to get on the field, and I was really hurt that I wouldn't be able to get on the field, both mentally, obviously, and physically. But yeah, I ended up getting hurt, and then we go up to Cal Poly. And come to find out, COVID hits and everything kind of just shut down. And, I tell people all the time, that was a blessing in disguise for me, because COVID, once that hit, I didn't need surgery on my arm. So it allowed me to go back home and just kind of rehab on my own. And so that was, and I got a taste of college baseball a little bit, especially going into season, because how many guys can say they experience, college baseball season in their first semester in college? And so I come back home, and it was like immediately I was like, okay, I need to hit the ground running this fall. Like I need to do anything and everything I can. Obviously, once everything kind of opened up a little bit slowly with COVID, that was whenever I was able to start going and getting more work in. But yeah, it was any emotion that you ever thought you could feel, I felt in about 3.5 months. It was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, no doubt. Daniel, what is he? He's like the third or fourth guest who, everybody thinks the negative of COVID, rightfully so, but I promise you, you're the third or fourth guy who said they benefited from it. Am I wrong, Daniel?
Yeah.
No, I mean, just having the opportunity to take a step back and know that you eventually find out you're going to get that season back if you want it. But take a step back, regroup, reassess, and really just fine tune with some things. I guess really it's just like you go so hard for so long. It's nice to be able to shift down the gear a little bit and kind of throttle down and really work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, obviously you got that experience you talked about, which was vital. And so coming into your sophomore year, all Big 12, honorable mention, academic, all Big 12 first team. So shout out to you for taking care of the academics, but started all 51 games, 28 at second base and 23 at shortstop, hit 308 while tying the team lead in 16 doubles, had 37 RBIs, hit 3 home runs, 6 triples, scored 46 runs, and a perfect 6 for 6 on stolen base attempts. So before we get into specific games within the season, like overall, man, talking about you got that experience under your belt, that first third of the season, quarter of the season, whatever it was. Coming into that second year, did you feel like you met the expectations you laid out in front of yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was one of those things where it was like, as soon as I got there, I actually didn't find out I was starting at shortstop until because we had a transfer come in from JUCO transfer. His name's Jack Benet. He was actually committed to LSU before he got drafted over the summer. But he came in and, we didn't know who was starting at shortstop up until the beginning of the season. And then, I ended up finding out right before our first practice or right before our first game. It was like the practice right before. Coach Rod comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, man, you're starting at short." And I was like, "All right, like let's get this game going." And I think I batted 5th the first game, and the very next game I was right there in the 3 spot. So you want to talk about having to put up and shut up as soon as the season starts. I mean, that was kind of my mentality. It was just, I'm not going to go out there and try to do anything that I haven't done. I just wanted to go out there and just try to play the same game I played my whole life. And that was really, what got me. That was really the mindset of what got me, really trying to perform right there. Was it's not like I'm trying to perform, individually. I mean, yeah, baseball is an individual sport, but it's just as much as a team sport too. And so my whole mentality would go out there and, try to put on for my team for the most part. And I mean, the stats, I mean, they speak for themselves. I mean, I don't go out there and play for stats. I really don't even try to look at my stats until, towards the end of the year, just to like assess. But, at the end of the day, I mean, as long as my team is, got a, one more run than the other team or whatever, I mean, that's everything I can do. And I know that, the coaches trust me. And I think that the coaches trust me enough to put me in the spots that they put me in to go out there and perform.
Yeah, no doubt. And so speaking of performing, talking about helping your team, we brought up Daniel's Memphis flag behind him. You decided you were going to go 8 for 15 with 6 runs, 3 RBIs against Memphis, man. Why no mercy on the Tigers, bro?
Hey, it is nothing personal. It's nothing personal.
It feels personal.
If it makes you feel any better, the school that I'm wearing, the jersey I'm wearing right now, I tore it up against them last year. So it's all part of the business, man. It's all part of the business.
No, I seen that and I was like, I gotta highlight what he did at Memphis. But no, man, obviously you had huge games against Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, both on the road. Like, we talk about the smile and this joy you have. Is that why like it seems to be road environments don't bother you? Because I mean, you're just happy out there to be playing the game you love.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest too. I thrive in hostile environments. Like that's something I've always enjoyed being, the villain in a sense. And
how can you be a villain being that happy, man?
See, I think there's nothing crazier than a villain who is smiling and is happy, because I think that pisses them off even more. And I love that. I love being, making a play or something. And I think I made a play last week, and we're playing Oak State. I made a play sliding to my knee last week and throwing it over. And like, I couldn't help but not to smile, because I'm like, man, like, I'm him. Like I'm just like that, and I think that's the greatest thing to me is, being able to be that guy, especially on the road, and, just being able to take it to the other team, and there's nothing that the other team can do about it but watch me smile. I think that is, that's awesome to me.
Well, what I think is great also, because you heard Randy laugh. So many guys come on here and they don't want to like pump themselves up. They want to be so humble, and like you have a problem saying I'm him, and like that's refreshing.
Hey, there's a difference between being cocky and there's a difference between having confidence. That's the way I look at it.
No doubt. So, going into the next year, all Big 12, honorable mention again, academic, all Big 12 first team again, started 54 games at second base. So obviously you made the transition over to second base, 297, 4 home runs, 35 RBIs, led the club with 60 runs scored. But I got to see you live for the first time. I happened to be at the Shriners Classic. Obviously, LSU fan, went down there to Minute Maid. And, what's it like, you talked about the year before, man, but getting to go down there, obviously played a big league park and play against teams the caliber of Tennessee, LSU, and UCLA. I mean, you said you like hot. That's obviously a neutral site, but nonetheless, you said you like to kind of thrive. I mean, you're talking about playing big name schools in a big atmosphere.
I mean, it was every bit as advertised. I mean, you look, and unfortunately we didn't make it to a regional that year, but looking at it, I mean, where we played, I mean, when we played LSU and when we played Tennessee, especially, I mean, it was a regional environment. And
how nasty was Chase Burns? Isn't that who you went against, or did you?
No, he pitched against Texas.
We faced.
It was Doe.
Oh, you got Doe. Yeah. How nasty? How nasty is it?
He's legit. He's legit. He throws, that thing is fuzzy, and I think he got me to K up twice. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
like,
he's him.
Me and Randy 2 weeks ago, we went down to the box and watched Tennessee LSU because he's a Tennessee guy, and we watched Doe and Skeens go against each other. He's definitely
that's just a lot of fire. That's exactly what that sounds like. Nothing but just hard fastballs.
Bro, Skeen was throwing like 99.5 in like the 7th inning.
So what's crazy with Skeens is we had played them in the fall when he was at Air Force. We inter-squadded them last fall while I was at Baylor, and he went up and he threw the first he started on the mound the first game and then DH the second game. And he ended up walking me my first at bat, but I promise you, I had no clue what any of his pitches were doing. Like, I think I fouled a ball off behind me, and I still to this day don't know if it was a slider or just a back. I don't know what it was. I just know it was hard and it was spinning. and I fouled him off, and I think I got to like a 3-2 counts. Probably bat left my shoulder. Probably I think that one time in the foul ball, like
So,
he's that, and then dude could get in the box and in cap a ball out of our yard, and we play in the windiest conference in the nation, and so it's either blowing way hard in or it's blowing way hard out. And that day it was blowing way hard in, and he in capped the ball off the top of the right center wall, and I'm like, this dude's legit. This dude's legit.
so this show's about you, Trey. Obviously, we've had Skeens on the show, but I'm gonna ask you a question because you've seen him do both. Do you feel like us LSU fans are missing out by not getting to see him do both?
I'm gonna be honest. With all the star power y'all got on offense, I don't think y'all really need him right now.
We'll take more. We'll take
much.
more. Somebody might slump. We might need a pinch hit somewhere here and there.
The TCU baseball player in me is telling me to just leave him on the mound because I don't want to see him get in that bat. But if he ever gets in that bat, or if it ever comes down to him getting in that bat, I mean, he's right up there with some of the best dudes in that order. He is a legit six-tool player. He is unbelievable.
No doubt. So, when you talked about picking Baylor over Houston because of the potential, you obviously transfer out of Baylor. Y'all missed postseason both first 2 years. Does that play any role in why you end up deciding to leave Baylor?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
I said, so, you talked about when you chose Baylor over Houston, it was about opportunity, about having the best opportunity for yourself. When it comes to leaving Baylor to go to TCU, is that about, y'all didn't make the postseason either year. Obviously, TCU's a team it's making big moves. Is that what plays into making a transfer like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, being where I've been the last, 2 years prior to coming here and seeing, I mean, we played some of the best talent, around the nation, around the country, really, in just terms of, we played, our handful of SEC teams, played our handful of, Big 12 teams, obviously, played, some Pac-12 teams, and just seeing the talent everywhere. And, you kind of know and understand, who the premier programs are, especially being there for as long as you have. I mean, with TCU, for instance, they, I talked to the coaches during while I was being recruited, and they had a down. According to them, they had a pretty down year last year, and they ended up making it to a regional while winning conference. I'm like, if that's a down year, that's I want to be a part of that standard. But it's just there's multiple schools that are like that in the nation, but I feel like just the way that I look at, the landscape of college baseball, there's probably about 8 teams, probably 9 teams that can truly look themselves in the mirror and say that we can win a national championship. And, the way that I looked at it, TCU was one of them because, when I went into the portal, I mean, it was like as soon as I went into the portal, I think it was like 6:00 that night. I found out our coach had gotten fired or got let go or resigned. Didn't get fired, he resigned, and our whole staff was being clean slated. So I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to stay here. And then I ended up getting the alert that I was in the portal, and at 6:00, and then I didn't get off the phone till about 11:00 that night, just talking to different schools, getting DMs, just text, any sort of communication you could think of. I got that in about 3 days or so, but right off the bat, I knew I had a top 3, pick of schools. And so, and TCU was, that was my number one. And, having guys over here that have, been in the program and stuff, and knowing, some of the guys, I mean, our center fielder, Elijah Nunez, I've known him since high school. And so that was one dude where I was like, okay, I like the way he plays. I like the way, dudes like Braden Taylor plays, Luke Boyers, all these guys. I was like, I like the way they play the game, and I like the way that, they kind of run things. And so it was like, this is what I kind of want to be a part of. And I want to, be on a team that, not only makes it to a regional, but, being able to make it there and make it to a super, and, eventually, going to Omaha and having a chance of winning Omaha. I mean, that's every kid's dream, but, I haven't even played postseason baseball yet. So I just wanted to, get a feeling of what postseason baseball is like. And, I was actually eligible to be drafted last year, and I'd kind of turned down anything that any sort of talks or anything that I was getting because I feel like especially at the time a 20-year-old kid, like I want to do something. I still have a year left in my tank, and I got a junior year. Technically, it's my junior year, so I have 2 junior years in a row. I was like, I'm gonna take advantage of it and go somewhere and win. And that's that was really the biggest thing for me. Like you said, I mean, going somewhere to going to some sort of winning program and being able to be a part of that and just getting right into it and getting to work. That was anything I wanted, everything I wanted.
Well, we think alike because you said there's like 8 or 9 teams. I did my preseason Omaha 8 before the season started, and TCU's in my 8. That's before I even went and seen you at the showdown or anything.
Yeah.
So I believe the same thing you did by joining that program.
Yeah.
So hopefully you made me right, Trey. But
yeah, hey, that's the plan.
so, season starts off at the college baseball showdown, Globe Life. I get to see you again. You catch my attention again. It's the smile because I was actually sitting on that first baseline side. So you were right there in front of us. And once again, start with competition like Arkansas, Vandy, and Missouri in a big league stadium. I mean, these things like the Shriners and college baseball showdown, I mean, they can only make you better because you automatically out the gate get to play the best of competition. And like I said, in an atmosphere that's great, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you this, you know who Jalen Battles is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Do you happen to remember that web gym you made against Arkansas?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we were sitting in a suite together, and you took him to his feet with a full ovation against his alma mater. So if you want to feel good about something, man, he was like, "That's a play right there." And he's a middle infielder, so he's respecting you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love it.
So, I mean, with that, man, I've brought up your batting stats, but just talk about the pride. You talked about that slide and catch you made last week. Just talk about that pride you have of being the defensive player you are.
That's really, I tell people all the time. I mean, my defense is really what's gotten me to this point. I've always, hitting takes a lot more work for me than it does for, a few people. And that's okay. I mean, I don't mind that at all. I just, go in and put my work. But, I was really, really blessed with, a good glove. And I've always, once I started learning the fundamentals of, truly how to field ground balls and, using your feet, I mean, there was the sky's the limit for me because for the most part, I mean, it's all athleticism. And especially playing the middle infield, like, you need to sometimes just be an athlete. You don't need to do any footwork or anything like that. I mean, the fundamentals is what wins it, but every now and then you need to be an athlete. And so that's something defensively, that's something I've always, taken pride in since, middle school, around the time where I like actually started, being able to make plays like that. And I truly believe that's what's gotten me to this point is my defense and working. I've been blessed enough to work with some of the best defensive dudes in the country with Steve Rodriguez at Baylor, and then our hitting coach, our assistant coach here, TJ Bruce. He's really good with defense. I think he was at UCLA with like Brandon Crawford and all of them when they won the championship, I think. But he having both of them in my corner, teaching me with defense. I mean, I've also back at home, one of the guys that I work out with is really good friends with Ron Washington. And if you know anything about Ron Washington, that dude just breeds defenders. And so being able to, have guys like that and, just dudes in my corner that know, that there's a true art to playing defense. There's a true art to playing the infield. It's amazing because, it allows me to, just really show myself. I mean, like, okay, yeah, you're good at defense, but there's always another level you can get to on defense. And so, my whole goal is to go into the game. Every single game I play is, I want to be the best. Whenever the game ends, I want you to remember me as the second baseman over the second baseman on whatever team we're facing. And so that's my mindset every single game is let me just show you, why I'm the better second baseman. And, more times than not, I mean, you get certain plays like that, you play with confidence like that, you're going to make plays like that. But, it's really the fundamentals is what really, really has kept me in this position. And, having the guys in my corner, like I said, it's huge.
Well, I'm a firm believer that good defense creates offense. So I think that's why
Yeah.
you're able to do both. Batting 310 on the season. One of the things I noticed in watching your recent games, from when I first saw you, you were towards the back end of the lineup to start the season, and now you're up front. So it just
Yeah.
shows that you've earned your way up to start there. Obviously, we talk about the defense. So you're fully acclimated with the Horned Frogs now, and I love to see it. So as a team, and this is the last thing I'll ask you about, and then we'll get to the game. Obviously some ups and downs. Y'all start out really well at the showdown. You lose the series to Florida State and Oklahoma and Texas Tech, but then you turn around this past weekend and Oklahoma State's red hot and y'all take care of business and showed the team that y'all are back on. They jumped y'all back in the rankings. So do you feel like last weekend is going to be the kickstart that y'all need to get yourself back going in the right direction and be that team that you felt like y'all are going to be from the start?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest thing was, we thought as a team, the series that we had against Tech, that was really the turning point of, or it could have been the turning point of the season just because of, the way that we played baseball that weekend. And, if you've ever been down to Lubbock, that, whatever goes down in Lubbock, it's just chaos. That's all Lubbock is chaos. And so, obviously not winning the series, but we're gonna be able to look back on the season and be like, we entered the tank for 3 straight games, and that was something that was big for us because that was really the one thing for us, especially going up until that point, was the most important part was just empty the tank, play all 9 innings, and by the end of the game, if you can truly look at yourself in the mirror and say that you gave your team everything you had, then we're in a good spot, win or lose. So Tech, that was a real big series for us. And coming into Oak State, it was just, let's protect our home turf. And, obviously didn't get the win that we wanted on Friday night, but, to be able to respond, especially against a really good Oklahoma State team like that, I mean, that was huge. And, that is truly, especially for the win-loss record. I mean, that was something big for us because that pushed us right up to, I think we're tied for second in the conference. So, being able to take that series when we did, and I think we got UNC Wilmington this weekend, and in Texas right back here at home. I mean, we got some pretty good baseball to play the next few weeks, and seeing what we did, against Tech, even though we lost the series, and seeing what we did against Oak State winning the series. I mean, you gotta, as a team, you just gotta see that this is what happens when we empty the tank. When we empty the tank, and we play baseball together. That's one thing that they hammer us, our coaching staff hammers with us, is finding ways to win. I mean, the best teams, there's a reason why teams who hit the long ball and can only hit the long ball, live and die by the long ball, don't make it too far. You have to, especially with Omaha summer baseball, you got to lay down bunts, you got to do hit and runs, you got to steal, you got to do all sorts.
I know how to summarize it. You got to play frog ball, Trey.
There you go. You got to play a little bit of frog ball. So, that's just something that we take pride in, is being able to win games in so many different ways on the offensive side. And, the pitching, I mean, we've been facing these guys all fall, and, we know what they're capable of, and all they got to do is just go out there and just give the defense a chance. And, that's really the biggest thing. But, like I said earlier, I mean, we just go out, we empty the tank, and we keep doing, what we're doing, and, we'll be where we want to be by the end of the season.
Man, speaking of playing games, Trey, we're gonna wrap a bow on this thing. We're gonna play a little game. We call it this or that, and the rules are simple, Trey. I'm gonna give you 2 options, and the only rules are you cannot say neither and you cannot say both.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So look, start it off. A little fast, a little easy one. If you could only pick one, would you rather have the ability to teleport or time machine?
Oh, teleport easily.
Man, where are we teleporting to?
Wherever I need to teleport to. There are times where I get lazy. I don't feel like driving. I don't feel like walking. Like, if I could teleport to class, if I could teleport where I need to go, beat traffic. Oh, absolutely.
So, like, we ain't talking about like teleporting to the beach or nothing. We just talking about like,
hey,
take me 7 buildings over.
If it calls for the beach, it calls for the beach. But I'd rather have that tool than going back in time. I just feel like time travel get boring. There's only so much you can go see. there's only so much you can go see.
Our last guest is playing for the University of Houston. Drew, who used to play for LSU, he's talking about Houston traffic. He said he teleported through that traffic too.
Hey, when you've been around Houston traffic, you understand completely. I'm not sitting through that.
All right. So speaking of traffic, you can only have one mode of transportation. Would it be a donkey or a giraffe?
Oh, giraffe, easily.
Yo, you're gonna be up there like just like have the chain on, up on top of the giraffe, looking down on everybody.
I will say I'm slightly afraid of heights, but I'm also only 5'9", so my center of gravity it's not too high.
Right.
And so I'm okay with riding a giraffe. But I mean, donkey, I just feel like that's boring. That's like, I mean, if I'm gonna ride a donkey, I'm gonna ride a horse. Like,
yeah, well, horses are much faster than a donkey for sure.
There you go.
And donkeys, man, they'll just like stop. Like that's just they're just done.
But like Daniel said, they're reliable. That's Daniel.
Are they?
Hey,
how do you know?
If I'm in the position to be able to ride a giraffe, I consider that giraffe reliable.
How do you know a giraffe is reliable?
Well, how do you know a donkey is?
Because they're known for being reliable.
They're also known for just laying down. When they're done, they're done. It's over. It's a wrap.
Exactly. That's boring. That's boring.
Well, all right. Let's move on. Would you rather be the fastest person in the world or be able to fly?
Oh, now this is a tough one.
Why he thinks, Randy, you like how I flipped that for him. Is normally strongest person in the world, but I knew Trey would have to think about fastest.
Yeah. I gotta go with the ability to fly.
I gotta go with the ability to fly.
But
you said you're scared of heights.
Unbelievable. I'm scared of heights, but if I can fly, I think that takes away that fear of heights. I'm gonna be honest, because at least I know at that point, if I fall down, I'm gonna just fly.
That's true. I mean, that would be very ironic if you could fly and you were scared of heights. That's not a good mix. That's not a good mix. No, it's not. It's not. All right. So, would you rather be trapped in a romantic comedy movie with your enemies or a horror movie with your best friends?
Horror movie with my best friends.
You got to be with the homies, right?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I mean, I actually like love watching horror movies anyway. And it's not because like I don't freak out. Like, trust me, I am, anxiety, freaking fear. It all hits during horror movies. But I love.
Do you ever screamed? You ever screamed during a horror? You ever screamed during a horror movie? Be honest.
More of like a startle, not really a scream. So
not like ah.
Yeah, no.
Come on, man.
Randy, you know what question I'm gonna keep asking every guy that comes on here after Kenley. Would you be interested in a girl whose favorite movie all time is a horror movie? Is that a red flag for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. There's something that ain't right. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I mean, hey, my wife don't even listen to the show, so I'm married to one of them, Trey, and I'm with you though.
Hey.
This will be the episode she listens to.
I was about to say, I'm happy for you. Trust me. I'm happy if you're Randy's wife, you're listening. I'm happy for y'all, but that's not normal.
No, it's not. And her favorite Christmas movie is Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's not even get started on that.
Oh God.
It's a Halloween movie.
Yeah, that's not Christmas.
No, it's not. All right, you can only pick one. Concert or sporting event?
Sporting event.
What's your favorite? You can only pick one sporting event.
Okay.
What are you picking?
Any sporting event.
We're talking any of them.
Any sporting event. I think I'm gonna go with the Super Bowl. And it was between between the Super Bowl, it was between that, Game 7 of the World Series, and WrestleMania. And the only reason that I didn't pick WrestleMania Game 7 is because WrestleMania, I haven't been that avid of a WWE fan since probably about 2014 or so. And so I keep up with it. I still watch it a little bit. Like I watch on YouTube and, I have Peacock, but I'm not that in. I'm like now at this point in my life, I'm more into it for the nostalgia as, instead of, and then all the guys that I used to look up to, like wrestling, they're all gone now. So
I feel like Daniel's got to ask a question here because Daniel's our wrestling guru, and he doesn't.
I see the Universal belt in the background and the $1 million belt.
Daniel, hit him with a wrestling question pre 2014. Get him with it.
Let me tell you this, Trey.
Okay.
If you ever get a chance to go to WrestleMania, you gotta go.
Right? Yeah, without a doubt.
It's like going to Disney World. You just walk in and you're just happy.
Yeah.
It brings back the kid in you. But going back to your time with wrestling, you're probably watching wrestling. John Cena,
the height of the PG,
Punk,
height of the PG era.
Like those guys are still in it, man. They're still doing it. So
I saw I think Cena return to fight at WrestleMania. I saw that.
Did you see him?
CM Punk is at AEW. I did not see him. But yeah, I mean, I still keep up with it a good amount, but it's just, it's not. I don't know. It's just not something I can watch anymore. I think I just grew out of it.
Yeah. Trey, let me double down on what DB just said, man. So I went down to Disney World this last fall, and DB lives close to Disney, so he came and met us, right? So before he's supposed to meet us at some time, and he's like late away, he texts me, he hits me up, he says, "Man, we got on the wrong train, bro. We at the wrong spot. We're gonna be so frustrated, whatever." But by the time I saw DB inside those gates, all smiles, baby.
But Disney World has that effect on you.
Let me tell you, if you get on the wrong train, you got to take the train all the way to stop one, like the very, very beginning. And it's like a hotel resort, and I wasn't staying there. And then I had to go back the way we came and hit every one of those stops on the way back. It was
well, as someone whose wife is going to listen to this episode, I actually get in trouble for walking into Disney not happy. And the reason I don't walk in happy, Trey, is I know how much money my wife and kids are fixing to spend. So I'm automatically upset.
There you go. Hey, it's all for the memories, man. It's all for the memories.
Well, I'm for the FTK, but anyways, we next question. And obviously, we know what that means. But all right, more fun to play in, Minute Maid or Globe Life?
Oh, Minute Maid, without a doubt. Globe Life, to me, I don't know. Globe Life just doesn't have the character. It just feels like it. To me, Globe Life just feels like just a professional stadium.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm very biased. I know I'm very biased, but I'll go as far as saying that Minute Maid is the best ballpark in all of baseball. Granted, I will say I haven't been to the historic ballparks. Been to the Braves field. Was it Truist? I've been there. I've been to Turner. I've been to a handful of stadiums, but for me, Minute Maid is always just that, because I've been an Astros fan since I started watching baseball, and so I remember Taos Hill, and I remember the games where there are the days when you can go up and sit nosebleed and buy those tickets, and by the end of the game, you're down by the dugout. I mean, that was
y'all had some lean awesome
years. It was some tough times, but I always say Minute Maid just because, I mean, Globe Life, it just doesn't have character to me, and then maybe it's just because it's so new, but it's just not. It's not quite Minute Maid, and when we play at Minute Maid, they're at Shriners Classic, and it's like usually the weekend where the weather is the best in Houston. When they have that roof open, it is unbelievably beautiful.
Well, that's why I was to say to you about Globe Life. Globe Life was a blessing because I got friends sending me pictures from every stadium where they're all bundled up, freezing to death, and I'm sitting there and warm watching y'all play.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. To be able to go and play in a stadium and what was it, February?
Yeah,
middle of February, and playing in the stadium, and
it was 30 outside,
and you're sweating after you finish the game. Like that was amazing. I mean, I don't like wearing undershirts, and so whenever I play, I always I don't have anything on under my jersey. And being able to go in there and those first two games, I've got my taco meat hanging out in my jersey, and I'm like, this is legit, man. And those jerseys, they fit well to me, but yeah, I'll always go Minute Maid before most stadiums, if not all.
All right. Speaking of sweating, Trey, would you rather be attacked by a grizzly bear or attacked by a tiger?
I'm gonna go Tiger with this one. Grizzly Bears are not.
That ain't
I mean,
it.
Tigers are ferocious too, but Grizzly Bears, it's something we do at the house here with my roommates. We'll just randomly just look up just wildlife encounters. That's it. And so I've seen what grizzly bears and what tigers do when they're aroused and they're up and they're angry. But I don't know. There's just something about an angry grizzly bear that just doesn't sit right with me. Like a tiger,
I'm
at
with you.
least, tigers are big and tigers they'll do some damage. But a grizzly bear, man, I mean, the name's a grizzly bear. It's grizzly. Like that's
Hey,
nuts to me.
I just need you to remember that when you talk about LeBron being the GOAT and all that, Lakers and all that, you just remember that. They're playing the Grizzlies.
Hey, hey,
Nice.
I'm gonna bite my tongue on that. I actually got this little LeBron shirt right here.
Oh man. Hey,
LBJ, my little James shirt.
good
Mm.
good
From
good luck.
LeBron-
Good luck.
LeBron diehard.
Good luck, King. But listen, we're gonna end on this last question. This is the one that we're probably gonna judge you the most on.
All right.
But probably not for the reason you think. Would you rather betray your best friend or go to jail for 5 years for a crime that you did not commit? Like when I say betray, like y'all are not homies no more. You're never talking to that cat again.
Oh, this is tough.
It's tough. There is
This
a right
is
answer.
tough.
I don't know, Randy. While he's thinking, our last guest kind of convinced me that he said he'd do 25 in prison. He basically said he'd be the most liked person in there.
Yeah,
See,
I'm not doing that.
I can't agree with that. That's prison.
Yeah, we don't. We didn't agree with that, but he was selling me.
It's a hypothetical, and so because it's a hypothetical, I'm gonna go with the politically correct answer because I just couldn't be able to live with betraying my best friend.
Oh man, let me tell you.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go to prison here.
No, look. Trey, let me tell you something. With that $1 million smile you got on, man, you can't smile in prison.
No, I'm not, and I'm gonna come out without a smile if I do make it out.
if I do make it,
Then
I
I'm
do make
finding
it
that
out.
dude, and look. These dudes are my best friends. I ain't going to jail for them. Man. I ain't holla back. Y'all hit me on the flip. See you in the afterlife. We done for now.
Off the record, I think I'm gonna go with that. But we're being recorded right now, so in case I get
still
somebody
on the
that's
you're
listening
still
to it
on
and
the
watching
record.
it, I'm gonna go with prison.
I just want my homies right here to know, and we all know the answer. Ain't none of it. Look, if any of us get caught up and have to get story straight, I'm just gonna make them out and be like, DB did this, Jim did this. I wasn't even there.
I'll take it a step further to the question before. If there was a tiger or a grizzly bear that approached us and I was with one of them, I'd push them in forward and I'd take off running.
Oh, absolutely. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
That's kind of messed up.
I wouldn't do that. My God. Let's think through this.
It's dog eat dog world, man. Gotta get through.
At that point, strength in numbers has to be a game plan, right?
We're gonna say, hey, let's go jump this bear.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Daniel, you think me and you could take a grizzly bear?
I'm sorry, Daniel. That's a grizzly
No, but
bear.
we could throw rocks a lot better.
I don't think as a matter of fact, I don't think the four of us could still beat the grizzly bear. It don't matter how big our squad is.
Yeah, I need some weapons and artillery. That's what I need to take down this grizzly bear because I'm not doing it with my bare hands. I'm not.
But what if we did though? I mean, what if we did?
Let's not find out. Let's not do it.
I was about to say.
And I'm not going to test prison either or anything else in between.
That's something we'll find out in another life. Not this one. Not this one.
Well, Trey, man, it's been a blast. Before you run, anything you want to plug or promote?
Nah, man. I appreciate y'all having me on here. This is a really good time. Usually when you get on Zoom, or at least for me, when I get on Zoom calls, it's always something for business or, something that isn't fun. And so, being able to come on here and, just give y'all my story, just talk a little bit, learn a little bit about everybody else here. I mean, it was a pretty cool experience.
You are more than welcome anytime.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna help plug you a little bit. If you want to know what Trey's doing on a Wednesday night, maybe he's recording a podcast. If you want to know what he's doing, on just a random Tuesday night. Maybe it's Taco Tuesday. Going over to Instagram @_Tre Richardson. If you want to know what the Horned Frogs are doing on the diamond at TCU Baseball, be sure to check them out on ESPN Plus all weekend Friday. They got UNC Wilmington coming to town 5:30 Friday. They got another one on Saturday at 4, and the last of the 3 games set on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Once again, all of them on ESPN Plus. Go check them out, man. It's some of the best baseball in the country, no doubt.
It's a good time to watch the Frogs. It's a good time to watch the Frogs.
Absolutely. Well, that does it, man. We are going to let you bounce. If there's anything we can do for you, Tre, man, please reach out to us.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate it.
That's Tre Richardson, everybody. We're going to take a break. We're going to catch our breath. That was a good interview. When we come back, we're going to talk headlines, college baseball, NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about it all.